What's good? It's Wrestling Ken. Today we're going to discuss the recent episode of NXT. Going to jump straight into it. Starts off with the Trick Williams promo, him being your new NXT champion. Of course, he gets a lot of pop. He's clearly the most over, the biggest babyface in NXT. You could argue the biggest babyface in wrestling in general. You could argue he's the biggest babyface in wrestling in general with the crowd reaction he gets. But of course, they're chanting, whoop that trick, whoop that trick. You know they're chanting that. Gets in the ring, cuts a promo. He starts off with thanking the people who got him to, the spot he's at now. Thanking the people, being the wrestler he is now. And he thanks Ilya Dragunov for that. Thanks Ilya Dragunov for pushing him to the limit. He ends up congratulating Dragunov for going to Raw, and he wishes the best to him. And then he starts alluding to a new era, how this is going to be a new era since he's the champion, and he calls it the whoop that era, which I actually like. Then he gets interrupted by Lash Legend. Lash Legend, she comes out with a microphone, and she comes out with an envelope of some sort, which is going to play into this segment, into the story they're telling here. She ends up congratulating him, gets in the ring, and this segment I love. This is my favorite segment of the night. These two were just going back and forth with the flirting. She was flirting with him first, but man, this segment was hilarious. I love this segment. And it kind of was breaking, I wouldn't say it was breaking PG guidelines, but they were saying things that weren't really PG if you really dig deep. You feel me? But she's flirting with him. She's hyping him up. She's basically hyping up very nice to him, complimenting him a lot. And then Trick Williams ends up alluding to what happened last time. He ends up alluding to that I didn't forget that you tried to slap me the last time we was in a ring together. And now that I got a little gold around my waist, you want a little taste. Then he ends up saying that I know exactly your type. You think I'm your little Reese's cup, don't you? I bet you want to take that gold and get to the chocolate on the inside. Trick Williams was flirting with Lash right back. He was applying pressure. He was not letting up. Both of them was going back and forth with the flirting. Then Lash Legend ends up saying that I don't even like Reese's cups. I like Kit Kat chocolate bars. Trick Williams respond very smoothly with saying, let me break you off then. Very smooth by Trick Williams. Trick Williams was not letting up. He was not letting up. Trick ends up doing this thing after he said that. He starts shaking his legs, he starts shaking his legs a little bit. The crowd went crazy. Lash Legend ends up responding, ends up saying, that's enough. That's your problem. You're all in your head right now. Your head's all in the clouds. You're not focused. But I got something for you right here, showing the envelope. Trick Williams ends up responding, ends up saying, what is that? You want me to sign some autographs for Metaflora? Trick Williams is very charismatic and very smooth in this segment. Lash ends up saying that what I got in this envelope is the truth. Trick Williams got very serious after she said that, and he was like, stop playing with me. What is it for real? After he said that, the crowd starts chanting, Trick is the daddy. I was dying when I heard that because that is very creative. And to be fair, it kind of fits when both of them are kind of flirting with each other. She has an envelope, but she won't tell. And it's kind of like how Maury used to have the envelope on his show. It's very funny how the crowd just starts chanting Trick is the daddy. That was hilarious. That was very hilarious. But Lash Legend is replying saying, all jokes aside, enjoy your NXT title run because soon it's going to come crashing down and things are going to get really hot. We don't know what she means by really hot, but she has the envelope and that's going to play a part. And we got to see how that plays out. And I love that they went back to the Lash Legend and Trick Williams because it was very weird a couple weeks ago where Trick Williams and Lash Legend was having this on-string chemistry. Lash Legend was basically gushing over Trick Williams and she ended up kissing Trick Williams. So I'm glad that they, went back to that because it made no sense for Lash to just be gushing and falling head over heels for him just for them to never interact again. So I love they went back to that. Next up, we got Ariana Grace and Gigi Dolan. They're having a dinner. And I love this. Ariana Grace is still trying to teach Gigi Dolan how to be, this elegant, fancy, polite, pageant queen woman trying to make Gigi find her inner womanhood, her divine feminine self. Really love this, but it's not going well. Gigi being the more masculine, the more aggressive, the more rebel, the more I want to fight a person type of woman, and it's not going well. Ariana Grande trying to, teach her how to be more classy, more delicate, but it's not going well. She kept on burping. She burped like 2 or 3 times after drinking some water, and during this little vignette, Ariana Grande would say something, and then each time Gigi Dolan kept on doing a cutaway, like she was doing a YouTube ad. You know how YouTubers would like talk, and then out of nowhere they'd cut straight into an ad, like very smoothly. That's what Gigi Dolan was doing with every match on this show. She did it with Lola Vice and Natalia. She did it with Ivar and Obafembi. She did it with Nathan Frazier and Alta Zapan. She did it with Theo. I don't know exactly what Ariana was saying, but Ariana would go like, she ends up, I remember Ariana said something like, we shouldn't use our fists. We need to use our mouths to solve problems. And then Gigi would randomly say like, that's good and all, but you can't, she would say something like, well, Nathan Frazier and Axel are not using mouths, and actually, they're not going to do that against Authors of Pain. And this, she'll like do a quick cutaway into what's going to happen on tonight's show, she was doing it very smoothly. I can't remember exactly the quotes that Ariana was saying, but each time Ariana would say something, Gigi would do like a very smooth cutaway into one of the matches that is happening, which I thought was amazing. And in this vignette, Gigi was having a good time. She was not mad like she was last time. She was not like frustrated. And it looks like she's growing. She's starting to grow towards Ariana, and she's starting to enjoy herself a little bit more. And I'm curious to see how this goes. Now next, we got Obafembi versus Ivar for the NXT North American Championship. This was a banger match. Two big, strong men going at it. Love this match. Very entertained by this match. We had some very cool spots. We had a sequence where Obafembi was on a barricade laid out, and Ivar just ran towards him, dove on his body into the barricade. Very sick. Then you had a sequence where Ivar did a swanton on the outside onto Obafembi. Then we have Obafembi, man. Obafembi impresses me every time he's in the ring. He did a Samoan drop onto Ivar. The fact that he's able to pick up, like he's just so strong and able to pick up someone as big as Ivar is very impressive. We had a very good moonsault from Ivar onto Obafembi. That was very sick. Then we had after he did that moonsault, Obafembi, he ends up pinning Obafembi, but Obafembi ends up putting his feet onto the ropes. Then we got a sequence where Ivar tries to go for the moonsault again, but Oba ends up getting up, ends up doing the electric chair. And then after he does the electric chair, he ends up doing a pop-up powerbomb onto Ivar. I don't understand. That is sick. The fact that he's able to pick up Ivar to throw him in the air, catch him, and slam him. That is very impressive. Obafembi ends up retaining his championship after the pop-up powerbomb. And it was a great match. It was a great match, but of course, Ivar wasn't going to win. Of course, it just didn't make no sense, but he put up a great fight. Oba, he's standing tall, holding the championship. Then Wesley comes out. His music hits, comes out through the crowd, gets a huge crowd reaction. Comes out, he stands on top of the barricade. Then he jumps off the barricade onto the steel steps, gets in the ring, and have a stare down. Both of them are staring at each other, and it pans away. I can't wait for that match. Whenever that match happens, I can't wait. I need to see that match as soon as possible. I don't care when, I need to see that match. Wesley is one of my favorite in-ring performers of all time. I love that guy. He is amazing in the ring. I love him. That match is going to be amazing whenever those two, especially with Oba, with his size, working with a smaller guy like Wesley high flying ability. That match is going to cook. I can't wait. And Wesley coming after that North American champion. He's coming after the title that he was supposed to win a while ago before he got injured. I think he was, because originally I think he was going to face Dominic Mysterio, he was going to face Dominic Mysterio if I'm not mistaken, but he got injured and they ended up replacing him with Mufasa Ali if I'm not mistaken. And he's coming back to get his championship back. I'm glad Wesley is back. I was upset when he originally got injured, And I'm glad Wesley is back. And I think the men need more star power. They need another top guy because that men's division, without Carmelo, without Braun Breaker, without Ilya, it's a little lacking. Because outside of Trick and Oba, that men's, they don't really have many names out there. It's kind of lacking, if I'm being honest. The women, on the other hand, they're stacked, but the men's is a little lacking. But next up, we got Thea Hill, Chase Yu, and Valen Henley. Thea Hill, Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, and Riley Osborne, and then Valen Henley. They're backstage talking. Thea Hill is getting excited because she's about to go out to Jason Jane, finally, getting her revenge. She's excited, hyping. She's getting hyped up. Then she starts talking to Fallon Henley, talked about how, she appreciated her, how she's been supporting her, and how is she going to be out there in the ring with her. Fallon Henley ends up saying no, she don't think she's going to go out there due to what happened last week with her losing, and she starts alluding to how maybe Jada Parker was right, how she needs to stay out of other people's business. When she alluded to staying out of other people's business and how she don't want to go out there since she lost, I knew something was going to happen with Fallon Henley, and we're going to get straight into that. But Thea Hill ends up convincing Fallon Henley to, come out there and help her out. Fallon Henley ends up agreeing, and she ends up, coming over. Now we get to Thea Hill versus Jason Jane. Jason Jane ends up coming out with Jasmine Nix. Thea Hill comes out, with Duke Hudson, Andre Chase, Riley Osborne, and Fallon Henley. This was a decent match, very solid match. It starts off with both women, talking trash to each other. Then Jason Jane slaps Thea Hill. Then Thea Hill slapped Jason Jane. And then they just go into a brawl. No time wasted, just going at each other. And Thea Hill came immediately with the energy, with the intensity of just attacking Jason Jane, which I love. But then it cuts to commercial break, comes back, and Thea Hill tries to go for a springboard, but Jason Jane ends up countering it into a neck breaker. Then we get to towards the ending, where Jasmine Nix and Thea Hill are on outside. Jasmine Nix tries to attack Thea Hill, but she dodges it. And then Jasmine Nix tries to come again, but Fallon Henley ends up pushing Thea Hill out the way and taking a blow. Then Thea Hill gets in the ring. Jason Jane tries to attack her. Thea Hill avoids it and ends up putting her in a Kimura lock. Jason Jane ends up tapping out. Thea Hill ends up winning the match. Now, after this match, it shows Jason Jane was bleeding. Now, it did go to commercial, so maybe she ends up bleeding during the commercial, or maybe she bleed after. But when I was watching it, I didn't really see a moment where she could have bleed, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But she was bleeding after the match, like all in her nose and her mouth. But after the match, Thea Hill, Chase, you are celebrating. Fallon Henley gets in the ring, and then Andre Chase accidentally bumps her with his arm, and her tone changed. She was very upset. And she was upset. And then Chase U, they're all leaving the ring. Thea Hill is the last one, behind him. She's about to leave the ring, but Fallon Henley pulls Thea Hill's arm, pulls it, has one of her arms hanging out, and punches her in the face. She finally turned heel. I have been saying this for a month now, that Fallon Henley was going to turn heel. I said this in my NXT Stand and Deliver review. I said that in my review of NXT Stand and Deliver. Fallon Henley will turn heel soon. Because in that match, after the 6-woman tag match, when Thea Hill was celebrating with Chase U, she was looking at Thea Hill and she was looking angry. She looked angry at Thea Hill, and I had a feeling that she was going to turn on her, and this was it. And I can't wait. I've been very interested in a heel Fallon Henley, because her as a babyface, I think she's a great babyface, but it wasn't much to go with her character, because what her character was kind of like this protector body. She was basically being a person that sticks up for everyone, sticking up, solving everyone's problems, but it had a limit to her potential and what she could do. And her being a heel gives her more opportunity, and I can't wait. I just can't wait, because I think Fallon Henley is very underrated. I hope she gets more time on the microphone, because I actually think she could talk on the microphone really well. So I can't wait for that. And it's building up the whole Thea Hill being the underdog, the sympathetic babyface you could cheer for, since I think they're going to step away from the JC Jane stuff for a bit. Next up, we got the OC versus Tyson and Tariq. I'm not really going to go that deep into the match. I thought it was okay. It was a match. That was really it. The OC ends up winning. Tyson and Tariq is a new tag team. They've been hyping up. They've been showing a lot of vignettes for them. I haven't really been talking about them. I know I talked about Javon Evans when he was having vignettes, but for me personally, Javon Evans was more impressive with his high flying. Tyson and Tariq, they weren't really impressing me, and in this match they didn't really impress me. They give me the same vibe that Out the Mud gives me with their two guys. I don't know their names because they're just that forgettable. And these guys are now they're super green, just like the Out the Mud people, outside of Jada Parker, but they're super green, so of course it's going to take time. But they give me Out the Mud vibes. They give me I don't know the two members, the two guys of Out the Mud. I don't know their names because I just can't remember. But they give me that vibe. They give me a weaker, smaller version of the Authors of Pain. That's what they're giving me. Maybe they could prove me wrong, but not really impressed with them. But the OC ended up winning the match. Next up, the thing that I'm very excited for. Ava comes out. She cuts a promo, the general manager of NXT. She announces that June 9th at NXT Battleground, the women's NXT North America champion will be crowned, and they will be crowned in a ladder match. That's that's amazing. That's amazing. That's great. I'm glad it's happening in a ladder match. I'm glad that they're giving 6 women an opportunity to showcase their skills, and I can't wait for that match. And I also think, if I'm not mistaken, Battleground is going to happen in the UFC like ring style. I think so, because they've been hyping that up a lot, that's going to be the first pay-per-view that's going to happen in like a UFC like arena. So if that's the case, I wonder how that's going to play out. I wonder how that's going to look on TV, but I can't wait for that. And she ends up announcing that next week is going to be the start of, building up, the participants, the opponents for it. And she ends up saying that it will start off with a combine of the roster, and the 12 best women will go on to have 6 qualifying matches, and the 6 winners will be in a ladder match. I can't wait. Then she gets interrupted by Jada Parker. Jada Parker comes out. She has a microphone. She ends up saying that's pretty big news. That's pretty big news. But if you want to see your next history maker, Jada Parker is it. You could go ahead, have your combine, but I'm going to demolish every woman in that locker room. Then Ruka comes out. She comes out in the locker room. She comes out with a microphone. She ends up saying that there's one thing that you're not missing, Jada, and that is confidence. But there's one thing you won't be, which is the NXT North American champion. Then Ariana Grace comes out, and I love Jada Parker. You hear Ariana Grace music, and Jada Parker was like, "Who invited her? Who invited her?" She was just so mad that Ariana Grace comes out, because you already know Ariana Grace, the character she plays, you know it was gonna be some bullshit. You know it was gonna be something stupid, and of course it was. Ariana Grace comes out. She ends up saying, "Ladies, please keep your decorum. Why must we be so aggressive?" She basically trying to calm the situation down. She ends up saying that, "Why do we have to fight?" And then she ends up talking about Ava, why we have to have a ladder match. That's not ladylike. It was very hilarious. Then Michin comes out. Now, I know Michin got drafted to SmackDown, so I'm very curious. Wait, I know she got drafted. I don't remember which brand. I think she stays on SmackDown, but so I'm assuming she's going to flip-flop between brands, so which I do like. I do like that for her. But Michin comes out, and she ends up saying that, I got some unfinished business, and I want to be a part of NXT Battleground. She basically saying, I want to shoot my shot. Ariana Grace ends up responding. She ends up saying, "It's very nice to meet you," but she ends up saying that, "But I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're actually disqualified." Michin ends up punching Ariana Grace, and then everyone else just starts brawling. I don't know what WWE does that. Why WWE does that? When one person punches someone, everyone else just wants to brawl for whatever reason. Even if you have no reason to do it, you just do it. And then the whole NXT locker room of women come out in the ring to just brawl, which I don't understand why. Like, it was a cool segment, but it made no sense. Why would all the women, what was the point of all the women running in the ring to just brawl when they could have just brawled backstage? It doesn't make sense, but it was a cool segment. Now, I'm going to be honest here. If if I'm based off what we seen now, I don't know who's going to win because we did lose some NXT win with Kiana James not there, with Lyra Valkyria, with who else went to Raw? Blair Davenport. So some of the picks that I probably would have had are not there. I'm gonna be honest. It really comes down to two women. Now, if I had to be biased, I would pick Ariana Grace, but she's not winning it. That's not realistic. But if we're doing a realistic option, Jada Parker is my pick. I love Jada Parker. Her or Tatum Paxley. Those two women should win. But Tatum Paxley is more in the she's more in the NXT title picture because she's obsessed with that title, so maybe not Tatum Paxley, but those two would be my picks. Now, I heard that WWE did sign a new NXT star that's going to be in NXT called Juliana, I think, or Julia. I don't know if she's going to debut, but if she does, then maybe they put it on her. But Jada Parker is my number one pick to win that championship. Then, now, next up, we got Oh, yeah, wait. In the middle of the brawl, Ariana Grace is in the middle of the ring and she's just freaking out. Like she's having a tantrum in the ring, just freaking out because all the women are just fighting each other, which I thought was like she's running in circles and she's just very worried and just freaking out, which I thought was hilarious. But next up, we got Ridge Holland versus Shawn Spears. I'm not gonna go ahead too in depth in this match, but Ridge Holland basically swatched Shawn Spears in this match, but he didn't start swashing him until he starts showing a more angry side. So it's showing that Ridge Holland is kind of getting more to that darker side of him. Now, he didn't win in a cheating way, but it was going back and forth. But then Ridge Holland starts getting like really angry, and then once he starts getting real angry, Shawn Spears couldn't do anything. He just dominated Shawn Spears once he got injured. So it looks like they're still showing that Ridge Holland is slowly getting more into his darker side. So we'll see where that goes. Next, we got a segment between Roxanne Perez and Ava. Roxanne Perez is being the annoying Ava. She's frustrated. She's frustrated because she didn't get drafted, and she blames Ava. She blames Ava for not getting drafted. Ava tries to talk sense into Roxanne. She ends up telling Roxanne that champions are protected. That's why you didn't get drafted. And then she tries to tell her next opponent. But Roxanne, being basically naive, delusional, and being very arrogant since she wants a championship, she basically not hearing it. She basically like, nope, that's not it. That's not the reason. I know you had something to do with it. Basically not believing what Ava is saying. And then Ava tries to basically shut it down, tries to tell her next opponent, but Roxanne said she don't want to hear it. And then Ava opens the door, ends up saying we're about to get her another time, ends up closing it. So they end up building up her next opponent. Now we get to Ivar, a segment between Ivar, Josh Briggs, and Wesley. It starts off with Ivar sitting in the medical room. Josh Briggs pulls up, and he's basically clowning Ivar. He's basically like, see, this is why I'm the only one that could defeat Ivar, but thanks for loosening him up for me. Ivar basically tells him that I'm not done with, Oba Finley. I'm going to get another shot. Then Wesley comes in. He comes in very respectfully, gives them both their props, and he ends up telling him how he's going to be the one to get his NXT North American Championship back and how he's going to defeat Oba. Josh Briggs basically not having it. He don't like that. He's basically saying you need to get in the back of the line. Wesley not going for that, and he's saying that if you want the spot, we could just fight each other for it. So next week we're going to get Josh Briggs versus Wesley. So can't wait for that. Now, after that, though, when Josh Briggs ends up leaving, Ivar ends up telling Wesley that I'm not done with Oba Finley. So Ivar is still in the picture. So I'm very curious, are we going to get a triple threat match? We may get a triple threat match for the number one contender because if Ivar is still in the match, I think what they do is they may have Ivar interfere in the match, and then that leads to a triple threat for the number one contenders for Oba Finley. That's how I see it, since Ivar clearly wants another shot, so that's how I see it, but who knows. Now, we got a quick little segment with Final Testament. Paul Ellering, I think that's his name, is the one talking. He ends up saying that WWE wrestling the fidgets. That's what he said. You are all on borrowed time. The final testament are coming for all the titles. What happened Friday to Nathan Axiom was just the beginning. NXT, get ready. Basically saying they're coming to basically dominate NXT. Now, if they're going for all the titles, what title does Karrion Kross goes after? Because the authors of pain well, the final testament in general are just losers. They're just glorified losers, and I don't see what title they could get outside the tag titles, because North American, you're not beating Ova Fimby and you're not beating Trick Williams. So that's going to be a tough task, but they're building them up, trying to make them a threat. And also, they're going to be on Raw as well, so they're going to be on both brands, but that's interesting, though. Then we get a quick little segment with the family. Tony D'Angelo, Channing Staggs, Adriana Rizzo, and Luca Crucifino. They're all in the car talking. And Tony D'Angelo basically talks about, not New Catch Republic, but No Quarter Catchru. And he ends up saying that I'm going to take the thing that's the most prestigious to him, the most precious, that Heritage Cup. Now, it looks like he's talking about having a match for the Heritage Cup. My idea personally was him stealing it, but it looks like he's going to have more of a match. He's going to do it the right way. He ends up telling Stacks to get all the footage on their matches of the Heritage Cup, and it ends up, that's the end of that right there. So I'm very interested. Now, I would love if he just steals it, but if he's going to win the Heritage Cup, I'm not mad at it. Now we get Authors of Pain versus Axiom for the NXT tag titles. This was a decent match. It starts off very fast paced. Starts off immediately with Nathan Axiom spending no time, immediately attacking Authors of Pain. They got some quick action, but once they got in the ring, once the match officially started, Authors of Pain basically dominated, and I finally figure out which one is Razar and which one is Akam. I finally figure out their names. Finally figure out their names. But AOP was dominating for a good portion of this match. Then it goes to commercial. Then Nathan Axiom get the hot tag to Nathan. Nathan starts dominating. Then we get towards the end. Axiom tries to do a Spanish fly. Karrion Kross ends up distracting the ref. Then Scarlett ends up interfering, ends up holding I forgot which one. I don't remember which one it was. But I know which one is which. I just don't remember which one was on the top rope. Ends up holding one of the Authors of Pain members onto the top rope. The ref ends up seeing Scarlett, ends up throwing them out, and then Then the Authors of Pain had one of Axiom or Nathan, I don't know which one. Basically, one of them was holding one of the members, holding either Nathan or Axiom. But then you start hearing cheers. Once I heard cheers, I was like, why are they cheering? I was like, someone must be coming for the save. New Catch Republic comes out. They take out one of the Authors of Pain members. They end up doing like some type of kick towards one of the Authors of Pain members. Axiom ends up doing a roll-up pin, picks up the victory. So Nathan and Axiom ends up retaining their NXT tag titles. I don't know where the Authors of Pain really go from here, because to be fair, they were dominating, but they also had to cheat to win as well. So I don't know what WWE is doing with them, because they want to build them up, but they don't want to make them win. And you can't build someone up if you're just going to have them lose all the time. So I don't understand. Like, it's like they're trying to build them up as a threat, but you can't have them as a threat if they lose every match. It doesn't make sense. But we'll see. But next up, we got a segment with Chase U, Thea Hale, Andre Chase, Duke Hux, and Riley Osborne. Thea Hale is crying. She, crying about, Fallon Henley turning on her. She ends up saying, why does this keep happening to me? Then Rich Holland ends up checking up on Thea Hale. Andre Chase and Rich Holland ends up having a conversation, basically supporting each other. Now, the thing is, they was having a decent conversation. Like, this wasn't like a quick conversation. They talked for like a good minute or so. I don't know why. So I'm assuming Rich Holland is going to be somewhat in this story, or Andre Chase is going to be somewhat involved with Rich Holland. I don't know, but they was talking about their inner demons, their darker side, how they try to control it, and how they support each other in that journey, and how they ever need help, they're there for each other. So I wonder what they're alluding to there, but very curious to see how that plays out. Then we got a quick little interview where Metaphor was about to get interviewed. The reporter tried to ask about the envelope, but they basically shut that down. They're not letting no one know. And they basically said that you're going to have to find out next week. And Trick Williams, if you want to know, come on to their show. I don't know what their show is called, but I forgot what their little show is called. Basically, like another version of the KO show, Miz TV, that type of thing. You're going to have to find out next week. So next week, we're going to get an interview with them four and Trick Williams. Then after that, Kalani, it pans to Kalani James, Fallon Henley. Kalani is basically asking Fallon Henley, what just happened? Why did you do that? Why do you attack Thea Hill? Fallon Henley ends up saying that, I don't want to talk about it, but it's time to put myself first. And I love it. It's time to put herself first. And I get it because, like I said, Fallon Henley was someone who always sticks up for someone else. She never worried about her own things. She always was worried about someone else's problems, which is alluding to Jada Parker. She ends up saying that Jada Parker was probably right, that I should stay out of people's business because she was sticking up for Thea Hill. She was sticking up for Ren Sinclair like a month ago. She was doing this thing where Ren Sinclair was the new NXT person, stick up for her, and she just disappeared completely. She's not even having matches no more. And it's actually funny because she was actually on tonight's NXT episode, but she was as like a background character for the main event. She ends up sticking up for back when Jason Briggs and what is the guy? I think his name Brooks Jensen. She was sticking up for them. She was always putting other people before herself. So I love her reasoning. Can't wait to see how it pans out. Then we got a quick little segment between Idris, Malik Blade, and Brinley Reese. Idris and Malik Blade basically talk about how they possibly have bad luck because Idris broke his mirror. Now, this happened last week, but to be fair, I didn't know that it was a big deal. I didn't know a mirror was that important to Idris, but it kind of makes sense the way Idris dressed and how he presents himself. So it makes sense. Then Brinley Reese comes out, her being this super positive, energetic woman. And Idris is like, no, we're not doing no more workouts if you think that's going to cheer us up. Brinley Reese ends up saying no. She ends up bringing black cats. They're excited, but Idris ends up saying he ends up alluding to how he ends up saying black cats. Are you serious? Walks off. Then they realize how black cats are actually bad luck. And right now they've been having bad luck with the broken mirror and them constantly losing matches. So I'm curious to see how they go with this because, like I said, I don't understand when WWE in general tries to build wrestlers up to give us the care about them, but you always have them lose. It's hard for us to care and get invested in a character if the outcome is the same thing over and over, which is losing. It's very hard for us to get invested in that. But I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. I'm just glad they're getting TV time though. Now we into the main event: Natalya versus Lola Vice in the first ever NXT Underground match. This was a decent match. This was a solid match. Nothing really crazy happened in the match, but this was a decent match. It kind of met my expectations. I didn't expect this match to go crazy, especially because I don't think these are the two wrestlers to really put on a banger match in this environment. But they did solid for what it was. Though it was decent for what it was in my opinion. But towards the end, Shayna Baszler ends up interfering in the match. Yeah, Shayna Baszler ends up coming out. Of course, she was the trainer of Lola Vice, and Carmen Petrovich was the trainer for Natalya. Got to add context there. Shayna Baszler ends up interfering. Natalya throws her out. Then Natalya ends up hitting a sharpshooter. She has the sharpshooter in for quite a while. I thought Lola Vice was going to tap out, but I had a feeling she wasn't because the sharpshooter was lasting way too long. Like, she was in this for a while. Now, I'm exaggerating in the time, but it felt like 4 minutes, like 3 to 4 minutes. I'm exaggerating a bit, but it felt very long. So I was like, and Lola kept on like doing this thing where where she was pretending like she was about to hit the mat, but she doesn't. So I was like, all right, Lola Vice not gonna tap out. What's gonna happen? I was like, where's Shayna Baszler? She gotta interfere, which she does. She ends up getting Carmen Petrovich into a headlock, and Natalya looks at Carmen getting, end up put in the submission, and she has to choose because she has Lola in the submission hole, she has to choose: do I want to keep do I want to win this match, or do I save my friend? She chooses to save her friend. She attacks Shayna Baszler. I didn't like this because Shayna Baszler looked like a bitch. She looked weak as hell. Now, now I'm not gonna say I act like I'm the biggest Shayna Baszler fan, but I like Shayna Baszler, and I think she does think to be shown as more of a dominant woman. Like, because the way you treat Ronda Rousey, the way you need to treat Shayna Baszler, because they both have similar background. Like, I don't understand how Shayna Baszler is presented as such a weak ass woman against Natalya. I get Natalya's a Hall of Famer, but like the way that Natalya was just whooping Shayna Baszler with ease, which was ridiculous. Especially when Shayna Baszler was getting Shayna Baszler was literally attacking from behind on Natalya when the first time she interfered in the match, and Natalya still was able to counter it and throw her out the ring like she was nothing. Like, I'm not saying Natalya. Now, to be fair, I think they probably did this because I don't know if it's no disqualification, so maybe that's why. But so maybe that's why they did that, because if it was disqualification, then Shayna Baszler can't hit Natalya. So maybe they did. But I didn't like how easily Shayna Baszler just got demolished. But Natalya easily, demolishes Shayna Baszler, takes her out. But that leads to Lola Vice ends up recovering and ends up doing a back fist, and she knocks Natalya out and she wins. I picked Lola Vice to win, but I kind of don't like the way she won, because she won by cheating, and it's kind of like I don't know if she really got put over, because you didn't beat her cleanly. Like, you needed a lot of help. So I don't know. This match didn't really help me really really didn't put Lola Vice in another tier for me. It didn't really elevate her, in my opinion. To be fair, I don't think Natalya is the one to elevate someone based off her legacy, especially as of recently. But I don't know. I just don't like the way they did it. But I do like the story element of Natalya, having to choose between winning the match and saving Carmen. And I saw on WWE's YouTube that Natalya is not done with Lola Vice. It looks like she's going to fight her again. So we'll see how that works out. Now we get to the ending segment. Roxanne Perez still has an attitude with Ava. She's in Ava's office. But Ava's just over it. She ends up just, shutting Roxanne down. Ends up telling her who's her next opponent, and it's Chelsea Green. She's going to defend her NXT championship next week against Chelsea Green. I love it. Chelsea Green is on NXT, and I love the opportunity. She ain't going to win, but I love Chelsea Green's character, and I'm excited. Chelsea Green is one of my favorite women's wrestlers of all time. Her gimmick, her being this super caring-like character, I love it. And I can't wait. But that's the end of this episode of NXT. This episode was great. This was a great episode. This might have been, this ain't better than night one. I think this ain't better than night one. But this was a great episode of NXT. But that's it for my review. Let me know what you guys thought. Make sure you comment below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, that's it.